Welcome to 3 Lanes number 6. This time, we're going to be talking about the Porsche 959. The Porsche 959, I wanted to do this one not to lose momentum from the last episode for our F40, mainly because it's Group B related and I feel like I am in that kind of momentum or groove, you could say. And it's cool to see the Porsche 959 against the Ferrari 40. I mean, there's rivalry there for sure when it comes to both brands, Ferrari and Porsche. But I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something, but I thought it was gonna be a little more dramatic. But yeah, this is another 80s car, the Porsche 959, and it's another car that it was intended for Group B, but it didn't really see the light of the competition. It did have some racing success, but it was not obviously in Group B since it arrived too late. And well, I guess we'd start from the beginning, right? Or what I think the beginning should be in this situation. Um, the car for Group B arrived too late, as we know it. Uh, it arrived, I think it was 86. They completed the homologation and everything was done. The Porsche 959 started because Porsche had appointed a new managing director, Peter Schutz. If I'm saying that correctly, I'm hoping I am. But if I'm not, correct me, or just not. Right, just just leave it. Let me live with my sin. And when Peter Schutz was appointed managing director, the chief of engineering from Porsche, Helmut Bott, proposed the idea of pushing the 911 platform to unprecedented heights in this case, meaning they have a pretty good platform, and he wanted to push it to make a supercar, right? And the idea was to create not just a supercar, but a vehicle that displayed the new level or a new level of technological advancements and Porsche's engineering. Uh, Hence, the 959 was born when the project was greenlit. Um, let's move to the development and innovation. The 959 is a showcase of engineering advancements for its time. I know nowadays it would look like almost an outdated car for what it is, but in reality, the Porsche 959 was a masterpiece in the 80s. It showcased a new advanced all-wheel drive system. It was called the PSK. Don't ask me to pronounce what PSK stands for because I'm not gonna go for that. But the PSK system helped the car adapt and change torque distribution between front and rear wheels. So it was like a, a combine of um, or I'm not gonna say combine because I'm thinking something else. I was thinking about the driver, the driving's assistant, or the dynamic chassis control. Sorry, from Volkswagen, but that's something else. The four-wheel drive, the advanced all-wheel drive system is more like what Audi has, right? That's basically what they were doing. It also showcased a computer-controlled twin-turbocharged engine. The 959 was powered by a 2.85 liter, obviously a flat six engine. It wouldn't be a Porsche if it's not a flat six. Flat six. Well, we have the 944. Never mind, and the 928. But okay, it was a flat six, featuring sequential turbochargers. Turbochargers, sorry, uh, in order to to reduce the lag that you have only when you only have one turbocharger. When you have only one turbo in a car, you experience what they call the turbo lag. I know in when you have two, it's a little less, but having two actually helps. And this was computer controlled, so it was new technology for its time. It had adjustable suspension. This is what I was thinking about the DCC in Volkswagen, the dynamic chassis control. And the adjustable suspension was an it is an electronically controlled system that could change the ride height and damping according to the situation where the car is. It was magic back then. Aerodynamic design. The Porsche 959, or Porsche, better said, performed in the 959 an extensive wind tunnel testing, and it resulted in uh, a car that had a body with a drag coefficient of just 0.31. And I know when I first saw drag coefficient and I didn't understand it, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just numbers. It's close to zero, right? 0.31. But just to put in perspective, current vehicles in this year, 2025, they average between 0.25 to 0.3 drag coefficient. So having 0.31 in the 80s is just crazy. It was I think Lamborghini had achieved that, and I don't remember what other manufacturer, but it was not that common. So for Porsche to be able to reach this, it was a pretty impressive feat. The car also had a lightweight construction. Porsche used different materials for the 959. They used Kevlar and aluminum. Uh, from what I read, not a lot of composites, but it was mostly what you could call Kevlar. I don't know if you can call Kevlar a composite, actually. I don't know. Not a materials expert. But the car was light. Not as light as the F40, though, but it was definitely light. Uh, Concept to reality. To bring the 959 from concept to reality, uh, it was initially shown, the 959 was initially shown in 1983 in the Frankfurt Auto Show. The Porsche 959 was definitely a hit, but it came with a lot of challenges. So bringing the 959 from concept to reality was a pain, to say the least. Uh, some of the challenges that I'm going to touch on go from technology to budget, and some of it's the same technological advancements that they were trying to showcase were challenges of their own, because they were developing this car from the ground up, so all the technology was from the ground up. And when you do that, there's some things that you don't know what you don't know, right? So you don't realize things until you're in the middle of the process. Uh, some of the issues were production and cost issues. There were budget overruns. The target price of the 959 was supposed to be German marks 150,000. That was the target price that it was supposed to be, right? But the price quickly increased to 420,000 German marks. So by the time of production, the price had increased almost triple. The 959 had production losses. Porsche lost a lot of money on every 959 sold. So the cost to build each vehicle was around $500,000 to build. The issue was that the cars were being sold for 225,000. So they were losing basically half of the amount. Outsource production. That was another issue, production and cost issue that Porsche encountered. The 959 was very, very complex to build, and I'm talking about the body, mainly because of the composites. and the different materials. But Porsche had to outsource the body production. The 959 was produced at Carrosserie Bauer. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I had the courage to say it. Rather than Porsche's own factory, it was outsourced, and in order to maintain quality, they had to send teams of engineers to offsite to oversee the production of this car, which adds more costs, right? You need to send your team somewhere else. Adding to that the engine was actually made within Porsche facilities, so now you make it a big supply chain issue because you have parts made at different spots, something that we see nowadays, but back in the 80s, to make a car this way was probably, well, obviously it was easier to make it in one big facility. So those are production and cost issues. Time and constraint delays. They miss deadlines because of the issues listed above. There were so many deadlines missed. One of them was the homologation. It was supposed to be done in 1985, and because of this pushback, uh, they missed on Group B. The 959 missed its opportunity to fully compete in Group B, and the series eventually was discontinued. So no Group B for you, man. The 959 was another car, like we know from the past episode, that didn't compete in Group B, even though it was intended for it. There were some regulation issues also that Porsche had to overcome. In this case, not even Bill Gates was able to import 959 to the US. The design of the car was really not affected by US regulations, meaning safety or anything that the US might have required in that respect. From my understanding, is that some people say that the US was influencing the design, but it was not. What happened is the US regulations actually made importation for the vehicle really difficult. Porsche refused to crash test the 959 for the US Department of Transportation. You have to give them a certain amount to crash test. Porsche refused. And it's not so much that because of the car was being so, well, yeah, the car was being limited, and maybe that's one of the things, right? But honestly, the most honest answer that I have found is that it was too costly just to make cars. They're already losing money on making cars, so now they need to make a few cars, lose more money on that, and just give it to the US to crash test, so they could not justify the cost, and then decided to refund all the orders that they took from US customers, and the Porsche 959 was not sold in the US initially. There were also emissions compliance issues. The 959, to make it emission legal in various markets, particularly the US, it was going to be a long-term challenge, and Porsche did not want to invest money on that. So they did not make the 959 US legal after all. The racing success of the 959. We know that the 959 was initially developed for Group B, just like the 288 GTO, but he never made it. Porsche, fortunately, with all the tech that had it involved in the car, this car was a very multi-purpose vehicle. The 959 was good for track, for rally, and for everyday roads. That was the purpose why Porsche had developed this vehicle. And again, it was intended for rally. So what's the other famous rally out there? The Dakar rally. Porsche got it in it, and they ended up winning in 1986. And up until 1987, the 959 was the top dog in this world. It was the top car with 197 miles per hour at its speed limit, reaching 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Up until 1987, the Porsche 959 was the top dog, dethroned in 1987 by the one and only Ferrari F40. If you don't know about the Ferrari F40, you can go back to the previous episode and you can learn about it. So, legacy and influence. The 959 had a huge impact on Porsche moving forward. The development of its all-wheel drive system made it possible for the 911 Turbo to adopt the tech. The advanced turbocharging system did the same. That's what we have so advanced vehicles from Porsche. It added versatility to the supercar world again because it's a multi-purpose vehicle. You can take it to the track, you can take it to the grocery store, and cars like that are seen like that, right? Like Porsches in general, you can take them anywhere. The technology added to the vehicle, the electronics used, predicted what was coming. Now it's all tech. All cars barely even have buttons anymore. The all-wheel drive system also made it possible for Porsche to have SUVs nowadays. This added value to the Cayenne, and that's why the Cayenne became such a huge success, because of this experience that Porsche had. The 959 definitely pushed Porsche's boundaries as an automaker. It also contributed to the company's future in ways that they probably never thought of it. The 80s have proven definitely that they were revolutionary when it comes to these two cars. But it is nice to think of what it was. I'm still failing to find a lot of similarities with today's world. I mean, maybe I need to dig deeper. But what do you think? Do you see any similarities with cars today? Is there a car as revolutionary as that in today's world? I mean, I guess we could go back to electric vehicles, and how they recharge when you brake and you just use one pedal to accelerate and decelerate. I think that's similar. I don't know if Tesla has done anything with it, or if they're gonna do anything with it, or any other car company is gonna start racing, or if the racing world, because there's Formula E, right? If any of that um, carry over to the original cars on the road now, I don't know. Maybe that's something that I need to look into, and might be the next episode. I don't think so, but it might be. Who knows? Uh, what do you think? Do you think the 959's influence can still be seen in modern supercars? Please share your thoughts, your comments. I appreciate your time. I try to keep these episodes as objective as possible. Thanks for stopping by. This has been 3 Lanes number 6. Thank you.